This is Squeaks, coach of the Craighead County Crawdaunts. ODL is all wrapped up. I'm joining another Wi-Fi league. I'm joining the SCA, the Spirit City Association, and I don't believe they've ever had a Wi-Fi league. So this is a first for them and a second for me. I had a pretty late pick in the draft. I don't really remember. It was like 13 or 12 or something like that. It's 12. Wow, okay, nailed it. So for my first pick, I picked Spectre. In a lot of leagues, Spectre's banned, and I really just wanted to try it out because I don't have a ton of opportunities to, but also I just think Spectre is a good Pokemon. Its moveset's pretty shallow. It's really not that great, but it's got a great ability, pretty good speed, great special attack, and it's honestly a little bit bulkier than you would think with 100 base HP. My second pick was Iron Treads. Really wanted a good rapid spinner. I needed a decent steel type, so Iron Treads seemed like it fit. Nobody had picked it yet, so I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll just pick it up. It's got great defense, great speed if you boost your energy, the speed. Honestly, pretty decent for a choice scarf if I wanted to use that. Probably not, but maybe. Just overall really good and bulky. It's honestly like, even the stats that it's weakened, it's really not all that weakened. It's got good immunities in electric and in poison, ton of resistances, just a really good Pokemon. Next I got Grimmsnarl. Setting up screens I think could really help my setup sweepers, but also Spectre is only weak to Dark and Ghost, and Grimmsnarl resists Dark and Ghost, and is Fairy type, so it's super effective against Dark, and it's Dark type, so it's super effective against Ghost. So it's really a good pivot for Spectre if I'm ever worried about something like that. It's also a good wall breaker if I just want to run like a couple of attacks instead of just making it dual screens or something. Could throw somebody off. Then I got Volcanion. I've never used a mythical in a draft yet, as far as I remember. If I have, it definitely wasn't Wi-Fi, so this is kind of new. It's got really good defense, HP, special attack. Honestly, it's even got great attack. You could just run this thing mixed or one or the other. The only thing it's really lacking in is speed, and I'm really not all that worried about that. He's just a great defensive Pokemon. Water and fire is also a pretty good type, where a lot of fire's weaknesses are really covered by water, and water's weaknesses are kind of covered by fire. Well, I guess just grass. Then I got Rotom Mow. I'd used Rotom Wash before, and I really needed to get a grass type. Volcanion, Iron Treads, and a few of my other Pokemon that I picked later on are really weak to ground. So having a Levitate Pokemon, especially one that's grass type, really helps take out any kind of ground types that I have to deal with. And Rotom's just a good overall Pokemon. I honestly thought about making it one of my Terra Captains, but with the amount of points I had left over, it kind of just made sense to not do that, so I didn't. Next I got Salazzle. I really needed a speed tier that was kind of in between Spectre and Iron Treads and one of the other Pokemon that I picked later on. I thought Salazzle kind of fit that. I just wanted a really fast fire type. Salazzle fits that. I could have picked Cinderace also, I guess, but I think surely Cinderace was gone by now. Salazzle's also a poison type, so I can absorb toxic spikes. I just wanted a faster fire type that was more offensive than Volcanion's bulky offense. I just kind of like having that dynamic. It also, again, is very frail, and so having screens up could really help me set up if I wanted to. I could even like run weakness policy or something and maybe survive it with a reflect and light screen up. Maybe. I'm not like banking on it or anything. Next I got Dragougi. I guess it's kind of covered in, well, it's covered in seaweed. I don't ever know how to pronounce this. Dragougi, maybe. I've kind of been wanting to use this. I wanted to use it in ODL, but somebody picked it up before I did, and I think they ended up trading it, but I just decided I didn't want it anyway, so I just kind of declined on that. But it's got really good bulk, especially in special defense. The defense, I mean, you could really work with 90. 90 is not bad. Special attack is kind of low, but with adaptability, it really makes up for it, which I figure I'll be running, you know, 9 times out of 10, if not every single time. Just really good wall breaker, really low speed, so it also gets flip turn, which means I get slow pivot, which is great, especially for something so bulky. And again, it's a poison type, so I can absorb toxic spikes, and it's also a dragon type that's not weak to fairy, which I love. Next I got Terrakion. So the main Pokemon that I really wanted to get for this draft was Spectre, Grimmsnarl, and Terrakion. I just think they kind of worked out well together in my brain. It gets justified, so as long as something's aiming like a dark type move at one of my Pokemon, preferably Spectre, I'll just swap in Terrakion, get +1 attack, and be pretty set for the game. Of course, it could be like knock off and knock my item off, but I mean, Terrakion's not slow, so I'm really not super worried about it unless it's like Weavile or Sneasler or something. Does Sneasler get knockoff? Surely it does. But again, just good overall bulk, great attack, pretty good speed. Next I got Flamigo. Since I got Rotom that was immune to ground, I've picked up 3 more ground weaknesses, so I really wanted another ground immunity. Flamigo's kind of underrated to me, and it was pretty low points. I think it was like 7. So this is also one of my Terra captains. And yeah, I just think, you know, I could run a Choice Scarf or just make it a wall breaker and run like a Choice Band, or maybe even Focus Sash, Swords Dance or something, depending on how fast the other person's Pokemon are. And with Scrappy, I'm immune to Intimidate. I can hit Ghost types with Fighting type moves. So really, I mean, I could just click Close Combat on most teams and hit it for neutral damage. And also Fighting and Flying is like perfect type coverage, especially with Scrappy. So, I mean, I can hit anything for neutral, really. Next, I got Braviary. Braviary actually gets Defog, so I have another hazard removal here. But also, I just really need another, not Flying type. Oh yeah, I guess I need another Flying type. But I really need another ground immunity. I mean, over half my team, I think, is weak to ground. So that could really end up biting me later. I mean, it gets Defiant, so if... This is also one of my Terra captains, so if I end up terrestrializing into something besides flying, I could swap in and get lowered by Sticky Webs, or if they've got Intimidate, I can boost off of that, or any other kind of stat lowering moves. Even just like Defog, this totally protects me against other Defoggers, while being a Defogger itself. So yeah, that's my team for the Spirit City Association Wi-Fi League. First game should be out next week. Hoping for another great season.